genre of these things. As far as 9/11, now, what do you think about that? Now, I believe there was no planes involved. What about you?
Wait. Could I ask you a question on that? I'm very
Sure.
intrigued on this. I actually recently just went to the the 9/11 memorial they built there. You know, the water fountains. Have you seen those that they
I've
built
seen
for the Twin
photographs of them.
Towers?
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. It was like imploding. It's like a black hole imploding type of square, if I'm correct, right? It's like sinking into itself. Is that correct?
Yeah. When I went there, it's like a massive like cube with a waterfall, and then inside of it, there's like
Yeah.
another miniature cube that descends downward where all the water collects and is brought back up. But with
What's it
this
called?
9/11,
It's
what's it
almost like a
called?
tesseract. It almost reminds me of a tesseract. Is that correct? A square and a square, if I'm correct.
Hell, you'd have to ask my buddy Jay about that because he knows about
Yeah.
all that
Sovereign, would you know
mythology.
what is it called? The cube in the cube. Is it a tesseract or something?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
But not
yeah.
to get off
Anyways, good.
topic on 9/11, right? I'm very intrigued to ask you this because I've never had a conversation with somebody who believes that there were no planes used. Let me ask this though.
Really?
What about let me ask the question first. What about all of the footage we have from random people all around the area who were filming the event and they called the second plane hit on camera? Are you saying all those people are all fakes or like what
What
do we
what
do with that?
what
If
ones that
no
got? There
if
was no people
if
on the ground that got a second plane on camera.
Wait, no, hold on a second. I can go on YouTube and pull up like what 30 different videos of
Oh, I
citizens
can pull
recording.
up all kinds
But,
of
but
videos of airplanes
please let me
crashing into it.
please let me finish. You have to be fair and to understand what I'm saying in order to properly respond.
Mm.
What I'm
Go ahead,
saying
ET.
is if hold on, brother, just give me a second to form my sentence. If there were no planes used, right? How
Mhm.
do we deal with the fact that there's too many people that were recording, right? The first plane hit so people were recording the tower in shock of what's going on. And then many people captured the second plane coming in and hit the tower. So you're
No, they
telling me that
didn't.
all of those footages are fake? What if I said
Yes,
I could tell you
yes,
10 of
yes. Any
all that's
footage.
fake?
Listen, you would have seen it. You would have seen it long before now, and we didn't.
Well,
Okay.
I wasn't alive
Listen to
at
me.
that
Hold
time.
on. You talked.
Go
Witnesses
ahead.
on the ground all had differing descriptions of what they saw. Okay. Nobody saw any fucking airplane. Now, here's the thing about New York City. You just said you've been there, you went to the memorial and everything. So then you would know that when you're within the close proximity of that building is about the only time you can really see the whole thing. From your level, when you go a few blocks away, you have trouble even seeing the fucking building.
Let me
Okay.
point out.
So
Hold on.
I'm not done.
You're misrepresenting. You're
I'll tell you when
misrepresenting
I'm
me.
done. Hold on. I'll tell you when I'm
Yep.
done.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So the footage we do see of a strike of an aircraft into the building are so poorly done that they are defying physics. You're watching a cartoon. Okay. The plane just melts into the building like an image going into another image, kind of like
Exactly.
when Chris Hatfield's microphone got stuck through his neck on the ISS, right? There it was, just went up into his neck like nothing there. See, no resistance, nothing.
There would be a repulsion impact with something like that. It's like
So no,
firing a gun at
yeah,
a cement block, right? There'd be something going towards the other direction. But yeah,
Okay.
I seen other videos too where they showed orbs. They said it was UFOs, some
nothing
advanced
hit the building.
technology.
It was fucking explosion to cover the controlled demolition. There's nothing
Yes,
more,
of
nothing
course.
less.
Okay, just real quick. It's only fair if I get 10 seconds to respond. You made a statement about something like if I was there and looked up and saw the buildings, but I tried to
Yeah,
correct you and say, bro, I wasn't alive when the building stood. I was born and
right.
not too long after, so I wasn't
I
there
was.
when the building. My mother actually ate at the top of the building, the restaurant they have up there before. But with this being said, right? If you're saying there were no planes used, what about where we see like the where the plane struck the building? We see how it lines up with actual plane hitting it because if you look close, you see. Please let me finish. You see where the two wings of the from the center went into the building as well. So if it was a bomb and not a real plane, how did they make that effect happen? Please.
Have you
It
ever
was a
heard of a shaped charge? Hold on. And that hole is a problem. Okay, that hole is a problem. We live in the real world. We don't live in Bugs Bunny cartoon, where when somebody goes through a wall, they leave a fucking total outline of themselves, right? That doesn't happen in reality. Okay. An airplane, the wings would snap off long before ever severing any goddamn steel, concrete, and aluminum clad building.
Well, you
It
do
would
know
not
that it's
happen. In
flying.
fact, the
You
wings
do
are
know it's
so
going
fucking.
500
Hold
miles
on.
an hour, right?
It doesn't. Well, that's another problem too. That plane cannot do that speed at that altitude. It's not capable of that speed at that altitude. The air is too thick. Okay. And that brings us to the problem with the wings. One slight movement on the control yoke at that speed, at that altitude, would rip the fucking wings off. Secondly, the wings would have tore off long before the fuselage finished even going through the building, if such a thing were possible.
So could I ask you a question on this? So if you're saying that planes, can't really fly at the speeds, that low to a city.
No, I didn't. Yeah, at that altitude. That's a cruising altitude speed.
So how would you say airports are fake then? Because how do the planes come in and land if they're not able to operate?
They're not doing 500 miles an hour when they fucking land, and they're certainly not doing 500 miles an hour when they take off. 500 miles an hour is a cruising altitude speed of 35,000 feet or higher.
All right, well, let's say this. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and let's say even if it was going under 500 miles an hour, let's just say that for argument's sake. Let's just say if you're right on that. With that being said, even let's for hypothetical argument, say it was going 300 miles an hour. Do you know how fast 300 miles per hour is? Like, can you even visualize something like that?
Yes.
So you're telling me that a plane hitting a building at 300 miles an hour wouldn't add up to the destruction we see with the plane hitting?
No. What would happen if a building? Hold on. What would happen if a building was traveling 300 miles an hour and hit an airplane?
Well, I mean, damn, a building.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Well, ET, I have a question towards ET Sovereign, because hold on, because let me just get my piece of information here, and then you two can cross talk and get some more information happening by doing builds. Because I know Sovereign has thoroughly studied into this, and I also have thoroughly studied into this, but not as much as Sovereign. And have you seen the interview with was it janitor or the cleanup guy in the basement when the detonation round? So there was before the building fell. Okay, like even half hour, 45 minutes, there was a detonation in the parking lot at the base, at the lowest level, and that detonation made that janitor, if I'm correct, or cleanup guy, his ears were bleeding, and he made it out. He didn't end up dying, but he did define there was an explosion at the base of the building, defining this is how they started.
I'm not denying that.
But also, AT, I want to throw in one more bit, and then that's that. And then also, Sovereign, maybe you can throw me in the terminology of this explosive. There also was beam pillars, clean cut on angles. That is a special explosive that cuts clean, like iron thick metal bars for detonation for demolition purposes. Do you know the name of that type of explosive?
It's thermite cords.
Yes. And they defined it as impossible for the beams to have been clean cut like that with any type of impact. It would have been twisted, bent, charred.
Here's where you're going off.
So here's another problem. The airplanes weren't real.
But bro,
how come there was no pieces? How come there was no pieces of airplane?
Just hold on a second. Here's the misconception: is I'm not disagreeing that there were explosive used at the bottom of the building. I'm not disagreeing with that. I agree with you that 9/11 was an inside job done by the U.S. government. I'm not disagreeing with that. I do agree there were, some type of, bombs used at the bottom of the building based on my information. But with that being said, I find it perfectly logical and reasonable to believe that planes were used as, we clearly see. And there's tons of reasons why I would say there was.
Including that impossible spiral that inexperienced pilot did. That fighter pilots said, veteran pilots said, would be almost impossible for them to do. But this perfect corkscrew dive, come down and hit the fucking Pentagon. Come on, bro.
Have you ever drone a plane before?
Yes.
Oh, you have? You have a license to drive a plane?
No.
You fly a plane, you don't drive it.
I didn't.
Okay,
I
have you
didn't.
have you ever
I only.
drove a-
I took over the controls in the dummy seat with a guy that took me up in his private plane. So yes, I have flown, and I understand how. Listen. Aeronautics has been a real big interest of mine throughout my life, and so I know how planes operate, why they operate the way that they do. I know why the SR-71 is constructed the way that it is, because of and why its aerodynamics are important for the altitude that it flies at. These are things that I've looked into, my friend. This isn't my first rodeo.
Okay,
So the
now
thing
you
about this,
have the
the thing about
decency
this
to
is,
acknowledge.
if these were airplanes, airliners, right? Which is basically what? It's an aluminum tube with wings on it, hitting a steel and concrete structure that was designed to withstand an aircraft hitting it. Okay. And somehow these planes come in and just meld into the building. And then an explosion happens and leaves a hole the shape of the aircraft. Well, we already know that the tail section would buckle. The wings would fold back, not cut through. They would fold back. That's simple physics. We also know that an aluminum tube with a fiberglass nose is not going to penetrate a fucking skyscraper. Okay?
Well, I mean, if it's flying fast enough, like you do
No,
acknowledge that. Well, do you
no,
have the decency?
no. Let me tell you something.
Please let me. Can I finish
I
one
have
sentence?
22. Let me tell you something about a 22 Magnum. I've experimented with those types of thoughts and ballistics. Okay, so I fired a 22 Magnum at a 1/4-inch piece of steel at 50 yards. Okay, it did not penetrate it, but it put a hole in it. But the buckle was coming back toward where the shot came from.
Hold on, Sovereign.
Okay.
So are you saying it made a dent or made a hole? Because you said it didn't penetrate it.
What it did was it slightly started to penetrate, but ricocheted back. But the inertia, the spring back from that bullet hitting, came back the other way. It was so fast and violent that the metal work hardened and snapped almost instantaneously, leaving a little punch out. So the debris, it looked like it was shot from the back. It looked
so there was
like
a repulsion.
Yeah.
Repulsion. Yeah.
It's all about the inertia in the materials that are hitting together. Okay.
I agree with you.
Quick.
Never can you make you're never going to move a hammer with a nail, but you're going to move a nail with a hammer. You understand?
Okay,
exactly.
Just real quick, just 2 points. Can you please pull up the video I put for you in the back chat? And I put the exact timestamp I would like you to go to. And while you do that, I must ask you. Please let me finish my statement. Why do I keep getting talked over? I let everyone else talk.
Oh my
but then when I
gosh, you
want to
say
talk,
that every time you get interrupted.
I mean, it's like, damn, I shouldn't have to say
curious.
this.
You do realize, though, ET, your boy Jay, this brilliant person that you think is so smart, couldn't keep his thought process longer than 15 seconds tops before he spouted out some kind of fucking nonsense. He was unable to really, the whole time, that's all he did on that show. I'm in the middle of making a point, talking actually to the other guy, because I already know Jay's not picking up on the shit, right? So I'm in the middle of talking to the other guy, right in the middle of it. He's like, "Oh, UFO." What the fuck has that got to do with anything? Oh, I don't know. I just said that. It's like, wow.
It's for like comedic effects, I would say.
Well, I missed the comedy part.
Well, once again, you're new around here. You don't know him like I do.
I know what comedy is.
He's like a comedian, so to speak.
I know what. Hold on, I know what comedy is.
We're not new around
you know
here.
What comedy
too old to be new.
Isn't comedy like where somebody actually says something and other people think it's funny? Because it's like maybe a double entendre or an unexpected punchline or something like that.
We all get our jokes, right? We got certain jokes among our little circle of dudes.
Well, do you think that's appropriate to put these little jokes in the middle of somebody's sentence and shit that has absolutely no relevance to the topic at hand?
Yeah, I mean,
it's not the mark of an intelligent person, ET. Not a bit.
If you would have let me finish, I would say perhaps not, right? Perhaps not.
Not perhaps.
But I'm a person that Okay, now could I please get to my point? Could you please pull up the video I put in the back chat for you?
Yeah,
And while
sure.
you do that, you do acknowledge, like, can you at least agree with me that the the building had glass, right? Obviously had glass windows on this building, right?
CGI.
Plenty of them. So when this
Mhm.
thing hit it going, even if it was going as low as 300 miles per hour, I mean, we can have the decency to acknowledge and agree that if anything was to hit glass going 300 miles per hour, it would go directly through. Could we at least agree
Not
on that?
on this building, no, because you know it was between each one of those very thin panes of glass,
Yeah, there's yeah.
steel girders, concrete, and aluminum. Okay. So it wasn't like it was just big plate glass windows. Okay.
Can metal rust?
This structure was built like, listen, you just don't even understand, man.
You're
It's
telling me I
not
don't understand, but
those windows,
I've
those
watched the
windows. Look, those
construction of the
windows were
tower.
only
Man. You're
about
not
this
telling me
wide
nothing new.
with a steel girder between each one of those fucking windows. Inside the middle of that building was a solid, almost steel fucking frame core that they built the rest of it around.
You're not telling me anything new.
Also, those
I've
windows
watched
are
the
like a
construction.
plexiglass, so you can't just
Wait a
break
second.
through them.
Hold on a second. Are you kidding
Well,
me? You're telling me that a plexiglass window is going
have
to
you
stop
ever been
something
up
going
in
300
a
miles an hour?
high-rise building? Have
Of
you?
course, of course.
Storm glass,
Well,
man.
try to pick it the next time you're in one. Take a chair or something really heavy, and try to throw it through the window and see what
Can I?
happens to it.
Oh, okay, but this is where you're clearly mistaken. Can I throw a chair 300 miles per hour? Yes or no?
Yes, you
Obviously,
can. You could do it.
Three
If you
hundred.
really try,
Man,
if you really
I
try,
think
ET,
you're
you
Yeah,
can.
trolling me now.
I'm
I
not,
I
think
I'm
think you guys are trolling
you're
me now, man.
you're big boy. I think you can handle that.
I'm just messing around. I'm just messing around with you. But anyway,
Use the force, ET.
in all seriousness, could you please
Yes,
go
yes.
to a minute and 50 seconds in this video and play it from there, please?
I'm curious, how did we get on the subject?
Well, let's close off with this. Please just show the video, and I just want to ask. It's like
Oh,
when
you
I
yeah,
watch
I'm
it,
sorry. I'm
I
sorry. I have
clearly.
to play it. I thought it was under
Okay.
your control. You can share shit
Oh
too.
wait,
You know?
can you? Yeah, let me say
I
this.
got it.
I
I'm going to
can.
hit play. I'll let you. I'm going to
I,
let it
I,
play
I,
because I'm making. Listen, I'm making making some coffee. I'm going to play the video. You guys do
please
what
put
you
it
got
at
to do
full
till I
screen.
get done. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Wait,
I'm
full
watching it,
screen
but
though.
I'm back here.
Now
Okay.
let ET talk. He does a lot of it.
It's like, dude, you couldn't have put it at full screen so people could see it, man. While we're watching this, as the plane's gonna come, you'll see it. I just want to know, like, how is this fake? You'll see it. They pan up and see it. And I've been on one of these boats. I've been on one of these boats there. Watch this. Unbelievable to say this is fake. I can't even believe it. You'll see it. We gotta wait a little bit.
Just real quick, I want you to realize that you see every one of those gray lines. Every one of those
Steel.
gray lines. Listen to me. Every one of those gray lines is a steel girder, bro.
Yep.
Dude, for the 10th time, I watched the construction of the tower,
All
so
right.
I know
So I'm
how
just
it's.
saying, you know, your thing about a plane going through plate glass windows is don't hold any water.
Please put it on larger screen. Are you trying to hide it so people can't see, or what are you doing? Like, why is it such a problem for you to put it on a bigger screen, man? But I don't get
Holy crap! Stop whining. You sound like a little tit baby.
Stop whining. You've been whining the whole time. Telling me to stop whining. Get the hell out of here. What the hell are you talking
You
about?
get the hell out
This
of
is
here.
ridiculous.
You've talked all night and really haven't said anything of any value. I haven't been able to learn anything from you because everything you said is just a bunch of garbage.
Hey,
You're
well, as the
not,
scriptures say, the wicked
you
will do wickedly,
perhaps
and none of the
this,
wicked
you
will
perhaps
understand.
that. You have no firm foundation. You're willing to just wiggle wobble here and a wiggle wobble there because you just perhaps along the way and that kind of thing. So you have no foundation.
I got a
Where do
question
you
about this
stand
video.
firm?
We didn't even get to the point that I even
That's
thought.
all right. It's still, I have a question about it though, real quick. Is that all right?
Okay. Yep.
Why is this only from a year ago?
Why is it only from a year ago?
Yeah, why
Because
how come that with this is new and it wasn't around like I don't know, in 2002 or maybe even through
okay,
2012
I
or
understand the question. Can I please answer? The
yeah.
reason why is because there could be many possibilities. One possibility could be because maybe somebody didn't want to upload this to the internet, but then they decided to years after the event happened. Another possibility could be maybe it was on the internet, but then another person decided to re-upload the video and this one got popular. And
Mhm.
may I also point out, you can easily prove this is a very old video back from the early 2000s just based on the quality of the video. Just to point that out.
So would it be possible for me to take an old video camera and shoot something with it and make it appear as though it was filmed back a long time ago? Is that possible too?
I
So
can agree that
you missed one of the big possibilities.
technically that's possible. Yes.
You missed one of
Can
the
I?
big possibilities, or
Well,
this could be fake.
I
I'd
call
like to ask a
bullshit.
question.
I call bullshit.
When you guys are finished, I'd like to ask a question.
Wait, but we got to let the video play. Like
Yeah, well,
this.
yeah, all right. So I'm just saying, it's awful damn funny that this finally it just surfaced a year ago. Never
to bring
seen
up-
by anyone before. It just so happens also that this is when we got all this new deep fake technology. It comes out a year ago. Nobody else has ever seen it. It's brand new. But it looks like it was filmed a long time ago. So you missed one of the possibilities that this could be fake. And you know what? It probably is.
Okay,
Because
can you please put it at like? Can you put it at
it's
full
playing.
screen, please? Like, why can't you do that? Are you trying to hide something, or like, what's the actual reason?
Sovereign, can you do that? We want to see. I want to see the details too. If you want to, you're the.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah,
Full
leave it
screen,
here.
you're
Leave
saying.
it here. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is good. This is good.
Okay. Make it big. That's what she said.
Yeah, watch this. It's coming in just a couple seconds. Yeah, watch here. It's coming.
Oh my lord! Oh my lord! Oh my god! Did you see that? Did you see that? My lord!
Yeah, you can pause it there. You can pause it there.
My lord!
Yeah, I'm going to call
Now let me
bullshit
take
on
a
that.
guess. Wait. Let me take a guess real quick. This was
Mhm.
fake, and those are all crisis actors, correct?
I don't know. You know what? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to call
Now let me
bullshit
take
on
a
that.
guess. Wait. Let me take a guess real quick. This was fake, and those are all crisis actors, correct?
I don't know. You know what? You know what? I am very sus on it because of the fact that this footage would have been seen long before a year ago. Long before. Nobody had a crisis of conscience. This guy would have been, hey, you guys from the news, would you like to buy my footage? I have really good footage of this plane coming in. You even get a better view of it, right? You would have seen that. Somebody
be
would have
possible?
bought that. He would have sold it. He would have showed it. He wouldn't have waited until a year ago to upload this. I'm calling bullshit.
Okay.
I mean, I
Well,
really am.
let me put.
I mean, and I'm going to tell you another reason why. Because there were no airplane parts found at ground zero. There were no airplane parts found. How do you have an airplane with no airplane parts?
I mean, well, shit. The metal could have because if you do the research right into the tower after the aftermath of it when it
Who's
collapsed.
we?
You know, they
Who's
found
we? Who's we? We
What?
did some research. Who's
Okay,
we that did this research?
if you want to get down to semantics like that, I can say they. Does that fit
Okay.
your mind
All right.
better?
So who is this they? Who is this magical they that did it?
I suppose what you would consider to be the rulers of the world or the Illuminati, whatever
There
word
you
you
go.
go by.
So it's kind of
I have-
like the police. Kind
I
of like
have
when
a
the police
question.
go, we investigated ourselves and found that we
No,
did nothing wrong.
I have a
Okay.
question. A question.
Okay, wait a
Is-
second. Before you ask the question, let me ask this. How do you know, by your same line of logic, right? How do
Mhm.
you know that the event actually happened and that towers actually collapsed? Because you're not crazy enough to say that the towers didn't collapse in some way,
No.
shape. You're not
No,
crazy
I'm
enough.
not saying that at all.
Okay. So how do you know the towers collapsed if we can't trust any social media that talks
Well,
about
they
it?
were once there and they are no longer there.
Well, how do you know they're not there if you didn't go and see them?
Well, I don't. You're absolutely
See,
right. You're
you're cut.
absolutely right.
You're clearly cut deep on that, man.
Well, not really.
You're
Not,
they're not there if you didn't go and see them.
well, I don't. You're absolutely
See,
right. You're
cut.
absolutely right.
You're clearly cut deep on that, man.
Well,
Hey,
not really.
you're one-
Not
you're-
really.
you're
That
one
was kind of
deep,
stupid.
and I'm
Have you
deep.
ever
You're one deep,
have you
I'm
ever
deep.
been to my house?
No, but I
How
know
do you
your
know
house-
How do you know I exist? How do you know I'm not a deep fake robot on TV?
Well, I definitely do know this about you, Sovereign. You lie about your house because you're not on the earth.
Well, yeah. I mean, I miss my wife.
This guy,
I miss everybody. I miss the earth so much. I miss my wife.
And another thing I want to point out is, you see the window to that shuttle space station you're in. That's the all-seeing eye. I got you now, Sovereign.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I got to add on to your statement. Wait a second. Wait, what if Jay was to say that you're a shill because we see you with the globe Earth behind you? So
We
would you
don't
say
care
that's
what
the
Jay
reason-
No,
says.
no one gives a flying. No one. No
Hi,
one.
Dreamy. How are you?
Listen,
You're
listen,
cut. You're
listen.
cut. I cut your ass deep, man.
You
You
haven't
didn't
cut
cut it,
anything.
Sam.
You haven't cut
You're cut.
anything. You haven't cut.
You're just
Okay.
embarrassed because you got caught with your pants down because you came to a
Call
sword
with my
fight
pants
with a
down. Let me
Right,
go.
so- What happened to the airplane parts, man?
What happens to airplane parts? They probably got melted among all the other steel.
Probably.
Very
How
reasonable.
come the aluminum cladding on the building didn't melt?
and all
Yeah, and
the
aluminum.
reports just
And that's
landed in a
aluminum.
nice little
How
stack
come?
on
What
the
happened? How
sidewalk.
come only the jet melted? Really?
It was made of a
That's
different.
unlikely. Now
a
the whole
different-
jet's not
Sovereign.
made out of aluminum. Hold on a second.
It's a-
Okay,
Well,
could
why
I?
didn't they find any
okay,
engines?
oh,
How come they
okay,
didn't
can I
find any
please-
black box?
Okay, can I please point out? I want to point out a few facts, please. Don't talk over me while I say this.
All right.
Let's first point out the fact that this plane hit it going either 300 to 500 miles per hour. When it hits that, the impact's gonna completely shred this thing apart. And then let's not forget, it's getting how many tons of metal and concrete and whatever other materials the building's made of collapsing on top of it when they collapse to the ground. So factoring all these facts together, it's very reasonable that there's very minimal amount of remains of these airplanes. Very reasonable.
So
Now-
you mean
now,
to tell
now
me
let's say
that the
this. If-
78th
if-
floor, hold on a second, the 78th floor smashed down into the 77th floor, and then that made it heavier. So it went into the 76th floor, and it did like that? That's what it did, like pancake?
I don't know if you remember this, but I told you I agree that were explosive used
Oh, yeah.
to bring the tower down ultimately. I understand that. And
Well,
of
those
course, if
building
that's used to
parts-
destroy the supports, the rest of the building's going to collapse by that. So no, the planes by themselves weren't enough to collapse the tower. Of course, it was.
Did you
these
know those
explosions
buildings weren't even finished, E ET?
weren't even finished. I mean, I'd have to look into it based on my
They
research.
they couldn't afford to finish, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And
What part did they not finish?
Well,
What part-
everything from the 78th floor down to the lobby,
What part about it wasn't finished?
the floors that it actually had these levels. No,
And he knows
when you got on the elevator of the World Trade Center, it went from the lobby to the 78th floor. Was the first stop, was the 78th floor.
Okay, if you send me some information, I'll look into that. Now let's say this. I'm being very generous because I said I had to
Yeah,
hop
yeah.
off.
generous.
Now I can stay for a couple more minutes. So let me just ask this real quick. I'm very intrigued. Are you guys the type? And I don't want to put this on you, so I'm just going to ask. Do you guys believe that dinosaurs